The Detroit Lions have been the most fun team in football this season just because of the relentlessness that they possess on offense. Jared Goff continued to have an MVP type of season, throwing for 3 touchdowns and 336 yards against the Bears. It almost seemed like Detroit wasn't trying in this game. I watched it yesterday on Sunday. I just went and rewatched it on Monday. It legitimately just seems like they have a gear and they'll turn it on when they need to, and then they'll just be neutral as well when they are playing a team like the Bears. They're going into Chicago. It's a divisional game. I get it's not easy, but these are just two completely different teams. The fact that the Lions had the audacity to fake Jahmyr Gibbs falling to the ground, Goff faked a stumble, recovers, and then just fires a touchdown to Sam Laporta. I had never seen anything like that in my life. I think it's one of the very few times, and I could probably count on one hand this season, and what we're week 16 of me actually rewatching a play over and over again after seeing it. And I already seen it, but it was that type of play where it was like, what the hell actually is that? Of course, we saw the Lions kick an onside with 12 minutes left in the game against the Bills. The week before that, they went for it on their own like 20-yard line and didn't get it, but they picked up 4 of the 5 first downs. NFC Championship game against the Niners, they went for it on 4th down. It didn't work, but this is who Dan Campbell is. He's going to take risk, and there's an old saying. It's that, well, if there's a risk, then there's a reward. And of course, if you don't get it, then it's going to hurt you. But if you get it, it's going to win you the game. And Dan Campbell wants to win his way. And I just love what he's done this season. He definitely should be towards the top of the coach of the year candidates. Him, Kevin O'Connell, Mike Tomlin definitely is up there for sure. There's a lot of good candidates. Andy Reid, you got to give him credit with just one loss. But just Dan Campbell, he's completely turned around this Lions franchise. And a lot of people deserve credit. Brad Holmes for that trade he made, sending Matthew Stafford to the Rams. Also, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the Lions finally have a dangerous-ass football team. Last season they did, don't get me wrong. But right now, I think, honestly, they're the best overall team in football. Because if you look at the Chiefs, offensively, I don't think they're very good. Defensively, they're elite. The Lions offensively, I think, are the best team in football. I would say they're up there. The Bengals are up there. Who else? The Eagles are certainly up there. The Vikings are up there. But the Lions, to me, if I'm counting on somebody to go out there and to give me 34 like they did on Sunday against the Bears, it's going to be Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs as the lead back. It was interesting because, honestly, I thought that the Lions offense would be better with him as the lead back. Not to say David Montgomery's not a great player, because he is, especially in between the tackles, short yardage. But Gibbs, he's just as close as it gets to legitimately just being like a game-changing superstar back. He got 23 carries, and he also got targeted 5 times out of the backfield, 45 yards receiving, 109 yards rushing. It just goes to show how good Gibbs is. I do think, though, that I was wrong in that, because David Montgomery, he plays his role perfectly, and we saw Gibbs, of course, get 3 consecutive rushes, and he wasn't able to, well, he did get it on the 3rd down. I don't remember exactly how many rushes it was consecutively in this game, but Gibbs, they tried to run him in, he didn't get it, they ran him again. It just, David Montgomery is able to punch that ball in. So although Gibbs is amazing, he doesn't provide what Montgomery does, just like Montgomery doesn't provide what Gibbs does. So they do need to get him back out there, because clearly they don't have the most amount of faith in the guys behind Gibbs. I mean, it's their 3rd and 4th string running backs. We saw Shamar Jefferson have 3 carries. We also saw Craig Reynolds have 4 carries. They did pretty well. They both went over 4 yards per carry. But I do think that the Lions are just all in on Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're going to give him a ton of touches. They realize that they have to get the 1 seed. If there's one team in the NFL that needs the 1 seed, it's the Detroit Lions. And I know the Chiefs might come up to a lot of you guys, but the Chiefs went on the road and beat the Bills in Orchard Park. And they went, and of course, to Baltimore and beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship. The Chiefs have already done that. The Lions can win on the road. I mean, it's the Lions. They're very good. But they just need that week of rest. A lot can change in a week, especially because it's the playoffs. So if it's a regular season, there might be a couple of Lions players, defenders specifically, that are like, regular season game, we'll win another week. But playoffs, they'll be out there. So you get an extra week of rest, and then it's time to go. And even more importantly, the Lions would only have to win 2 games before going to the Super Bowl, and they'd be at home. And if you look at the NFC, I mean, there's not a team in there that is going to scare the Lions. Not to say that it won't be a challenge. The Vikings, the Eagles would pose big threats. The Packers would pose a big threat. The Rams, certainly would. I mean, we saw that the Rams in the playoffs, that game was close. The regular season, week 1, that game was close. So there's teams that would challenge the Lions, but I think Detroit ends up beating really anyone in the NFC. They just need to get healthy. That's the only thing stopping them. I mean, the Bills game said all we need to know about the Lions. The fact that, and I know this keeps being talked about, but it rightfully so, is guys, 12 minutes left in that game, the fourth quarter. They're kicking it onside versus just kicking it down the field and trying to stop Josh Allen. And the Bills offense, I mean, it's very good. They've got the MVP front runner, but there's actually going to be better offenses that the Lions are going to have to see. Like the Eagles, I think, have a better offense than the Bills. The Vikings is pretty damn close. The Vikings offense is really good. Justin Jefferson had like 200 yards yesterday. They've got Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, a great tackle bunch, of course, and Darisaw and O'Neal. Things are going to get very difficult for the Lions here, which is why just having home field, having an extra week of rest is going to be huge for this team. But in terms of this win over the Bears, is what we all expected, 34-17. Caleb Williams had another good game. 334 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26 of 40, adds in 34 yards rushing. Caleb now has 2 good games against the Lions, both of losses, of course. But Keenan Allen, 9 for 141 and a touchdown. I mean, no disrespect, Keenan Allen is a very good player when he's fully healthy. We know what he's capable of, but he is 32. He definitely doesn't have the same amount of explosiveness as he once did. It's concerning to me of how open he got. I mean, he's pretty slow. Like, it's kind of concerning. Rome Odunze had a decent game, lost a fumble. Actually, technically lost 2 fumbles. I think the first one went credited to Caleb. Let me go look at that. Yeah, it was credited to Caleb, but it should have gone to Odunze. So really, Odunze lost 2 fumbles. The rookie, of course, out of he came out of Washington, right? Yeah, he came out of Washington, man. It's just crazy. Back in April, I remember talking about these players, and now it's just we're 2 weeks away from obviously like the playoff seeding and things like that. So I'm forgetting things, man. I'm just fired up, man. I want to see the Lions get one in the NFC. I mean, I know I can't just be like the Lions deserve it because they're gonna have to go out there and prove it. But I mean, legitimately, when I started making NFL content, I remember the Lions under 500 started just randomly getting hot, and then man, it just went on and on and on. I remember getting my first NFL ever jersey. I picked DeAndre Swift over Aiden Hutchinson. I'll regret that for till the day I die. I love me some DeAndre Swift, and he's having a pretty good year for the Bears. But I mean, Aiden Hutchinson did get hurt, but he would have won Defensive Player of the Year. And I'd even go as far as saying he's the best player on this team. Amon-Ra is amazing. Jahmyr Gibbs is amazing. Sam Laporte is good. But I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's the best player on this team. And just my love for DeAndre Swift. I mean, Swift's one of the players that actually kind of got me big into football just because of his hurdles and his elusiveness. He's a shorter guy, too. He's like 5'8". But, yeah, Detroit, man, I love making videos on this team. I'm going to go watch the Vikings game and then watch the Packers tonight and just keep you guys updated with NFC North. But Detroit, I mean, they've got to win out. They've got the Niners in Santa Clara this weekend, and then they're going to be at home against the Vikings. And that game certainly should be prime time. Lions-Vikings for the division. I do think the Vikings beat the Packers and play for the division in Week 18. And, man, whoever gets that game wins the NFC and gets home field throughout the playoffs. And, of course, gets that extra week of rest and preparation. I mean, this is the biggest game the Lions have ever played in the regular season. The Bills game was the biggest one. And then, of course, now it's going to be this game against the Vikings. I cannot wait, man. But, hey, Monday Night Football. Actually, I stand corrected. Monday Night Football is going to be Lions-Niners. They don't play this week, technically. They play next Monday. So, just to correct myself right there. But, yeah, guys, peace.